Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing my favorite female vocalists. Please keep in mind that this is my opinion, my favorites do not equal the best vocalists. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. Yoo Yeonjung. I chose her as the first idol I put in, because she is one of the most talented vocalists of this generation if I'm being honest. Her vocals are so powerful, not to mention beautiful. She can hit high notes perfectly, and she's very stable while doing so, which is why she's on my list. Her high note in As You Wish always gives me chills. I want her to cover Into the Unknown ASAP because we all know that'd be iconic. Anyways, she only trained for 11 months, 1 year and 3 months if you count Produce 101, which means she was either born an amazing singer, or she learned quickly. Either way, I think her vocals are fucking amazing for having that little amount of training. She's better than some idols who have trained for 4 years plus, and if that doesn't prove that she's a very powerful vocalist, I don't know what does. I love her vocals so much and she has to be in my top 5 best vocalist. She sounds like a mini Taeyeon. Now let's look at a few clips of her vocals, shall we? I think you get the point, so let's move on. LOL. Stan WJSN. Park Chae-young, also known as Rose. I always see people saying she's a bad vocalist just because she has her off days. I also always see people only sharing her bad MRE moves, and it's so annoying. I feel like I might be a little bit biased, because she's literally my bias, but I think her vocals are amazing. Sure, she has bad days, but so what? Everyone does, you can't say your faves haven't. She has plenty of MR removed where she sounds absolutely astounding. It's not my fault you people like to ignore those and hate instead. Her voice is high, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much. A lot of idols that have high voices don't sound the greatest, but Rose manages to pull it off and I really admire that. She was a trainee for 4 years and I feel like her vocal abilities really show that she worked hard in those years. But, I still feel like she hasn't showcased all of her abilities yet, and I hope that someday soon, YG, will let her really show what she's capable of. Now let's take a look at some of her vocals.
I'm face to face. No, that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on a sleigh, and every mother's child is gonna spy.
Now that you've seen Rose's talent, let's move on to the next idol. Minnie. I never really paid attention to her vocals because I barely stan idol anymore, but when I was putting together this video I decided to listen to her, and Jesus Christ, her voice is amazing. The way she sings is so smooth and angelic, it's beautiful. I listened to her cover of Gravity and got so many chills. I don't really stan idol, but she has to be one of the best vocalists that debuted in 2018. I could listen to her for hours and not get tired of her voice. She trained for 1 year and 6 months, and her vocals are incredible for that amount of training. Her vocals are always stable and strong, which is very important with singing. Her voice isn't high, but it isn't low either. She's at a perfect in between when she sings, and I think that might bring out more of her skill. I feel like if she went solo she could have a smash hit ballad or something like that. If she did a solo ballad, I think Korea would eat it up. I remember Yuki saying she couldn't hit Minnie's notes even if she tried. Her and Yuki covered a song on Weekly Idol, and they harmonized perfectly. They both sounded great. Minnie's voice in Latita, which was their debut, is spectacular and she's only gotten better since then, and I think she'll continue to get better. I feel as though her vocals will continue to improve every year, and someday she'll rule the world with her voice. Now let's take a look at her vocals.
And I'm drawn in your love, and I feel your rain. Set me free, leave it be. I don't wanna fall in at the moment into your gravity. Here I am in a stand, so torn, just the way I'm supposed to be, but true to me and all over me. Step closer. I have died every day waiting for you, darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I loved you for 1,000 more. It was great at the very start, hands on each other, couldn't stand to be far apart. Closer the better. Now we're picking vines, slamming doors, many flying in all of course. And I wonder wonder what for, why we keep coming back for more. Do we need somebody just to feel like we're alright? Is the only reason you're holding me tonight, 'cause we scared to be lonely.
Now that I've shown you some of my favorite clips of Minnie's vocals, let's move on to the next girl. Sun Seung-won, or Wendy, whichever you prefer. Do I even have to explain this? Wendy is one of the best vocalists I've heard. Her voice is very strong and full. It's not exactly deep, but it's definitely more in that range. I think she's one of the only vocalists with a deeper voice in my top 10, but I think she really belongs on the list because her vocals are spectacular. She hits high notes like a god, and most of the time she's very stable while doing so, which is definitely admirable. Plus she does it all with a big smile on her face. Choosing between her and Seulgi was definitely hard, but I do believe I prefer Wendy's vocals over Seulgi's, even though hers are also amazing. She trained for about 2 years after being signed to SM in 2012. Her hard work very obviously paid off, as she is one of the most talented idols I stan. Like, have you heard her voice in Written in the Stars? She sounds angelic, and the contrast between her and John Legend's voices really just adds to it. Written in the Stars definitely proves that she can sing in a higher octave if she needs to, and that definitely makes her higher on my list. I think it is very clear that Wendy is an amazingly talented woman who keeps improving. Now let's take a look at some of her vocals.
I find myself longing for change, and in the bad times I fear myself. I'm off the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never meet the ground, crash to the surface where they can hurt us. We're far from the shallow now, in the shallow, in the shallow. And I've just had enough. Pick up the pieces and I put myself back together. Crying it out, there's no doubt that it's got to get better. And it's alright to go ahead and let your tears fall down when everything crashes to the ground. And it's alright, no one ever makes it out alive. Shine
Oh Hasul, we love an opera queen. I chose Hasul because she has a very pretty voice. Luna are my alts, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think Hasul is like one of the top 5 most talented female idols from 2018. She can do opera. If that doesn't prove her vocal range is wide, I don't know what does. I feel like she is the best vocalist of Luna. She hasn't had the opportunity to fully show her vocal abilities though, and it makes me sad. I feel like if BBC gave her the proper lines in a title track, she could make it a very powerful song. I want to see a lot more song covers from her because I don't hear her voice nearly enough, man. I only really hear it in Let Me In and in 1/3 songs. I hope that she will get more opportunities to sing in opera, because her voice can go so high when she does that, it's insane. If you listen to the live recording of Hasul singing Let Me In, you can tell that she is a top-tier vocalist. You can tell it's 100% live as well because she is playing the song on piano, which means her voice sounds like that live. She only trained for 1 year, which is crazy and hard to believe for me, because her vocals are so fucking good. The concept that she only trained for a year is wild. BBC should give her more lines to sing in songs, because she is main vocalist for a reason. Please let her show her talents. Orbits are begging. Now let's take a look at some of her vocals.
깊숙한 그 어두운 곳 불쑥 들어온 너 언젠간 다시 잠들어버릴 내 세상을 깨워줘 우연이면 안 돼요 네가 밟은 건 넘친 내 맘이야 Say nothing 어른이야 우린 여기는 바다야 하늘 위를 걷자 내 손을 잡아 네 눈은 반짝여 쉼표 없이 너와 날 가득 채워
Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please remember that this was my personal opinion and my personal favorites, so don't hate on me for it. If you want, leave your favorite female vocalists in the comments, but please keep it civil. I hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.